Hey, ladies and gentlemen, hello there. Welcome to another edition of the MrWarrenHayes Show. I, of course, am the captain of this ship, the SS Warren Hayes. I'm Mr. Warren Hayes. Yes, the boat is also the name of the captain. The captain has the same name as the boat. And, you know, you could also argue that it's strange that a boat has a male name, because usually boats in the maritime tradition are considered female. But you know what? We like to do things differently around here. So, let's hop aboard. It's kind of like a tugboat, to be perfectly honest, because I am bringing to shore the stranded thoughts and impressions of a week of professional wrestling. There you go. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you have joined us here live on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. Did I say live? Yes, I said live, because I do this show, record it live on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern in front of a live studio audience, in front of a bunch of people who decide to take some time out of their busy week to come and join me here on Thursdays to record this, to listen to me banter about wrestling, such as Tim Traver. How you doing, Tim? Good to see you. Throwback is here as well. Nice to see you. Robert Larry is here. Who else? We got Patrick Mason is here as well. Hiya, Patrick. We've got D-Generation MC, Jonathan Reyes, Benoit is here as well, Robert Larry is in the house, Carlos is here, Aaron J's fan, Nick Wolf, my God, Mr. Fretz is here as well. By Jeebus, we've got a whole plethora of folks here this evening. So I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're watching. If you're watching here live and you're already enjoying what I do, maybe you like my little you liked my little simile at first, comparing what I do to seafaring ships. Then why don't you give the video a thumbs up? Or maybe even if you're watching it not live, right now, do consider giving it a thumbs up and a subscription as well if you're not here. You can also tap that little bell notification thing, because I know it's a little iffy sometimes. YouTube, it's a little iffy when with the starts of the streams and stuff, but apparently the bell thing, that fixes things up pretty quickly. So we can always do that. You can always do that. Or if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast application, because yes, the Mr. Warren Hayes Show is also available in podcast format if you would just want to listen to my voice as opposed to seeing me do stuff like this.
Oh yeah!
Well, then feel free to give me some love over there. A like, a subscribe, a review, whatever you need to do on that application to show the Mr. Warren Hayes show some love. That is fantastic. You can also show love to the Mr. Warren Hayes Show by joining the Mr. Warren Hayes Show Patreon at patreon.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. There's a whole bunch of extra content that I do over there, including, but notwithstanding, a streaming post show for patrons only immediately after the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. It happens just for patrons. So once I'm done here, I hop over there, start up a brand new stream, talk about some more stuff. Tonight I'm going to talk about how I'm a little worried about Raw because of Monday, but and are you jumping the gun a little bit, Warren? Are you maybe a little are you being a little reactionary? You know, there's one Raw that's not good and you're already worried. Yeah, I'm kind of worried because now I'm starting to see a pattern. And when I start to see a pattern, I get worried. So come on over. And all you have to do is join the Patreon at the Power Pal level, which is $5 a month. And you can get all the extra content that I put up there, including the patron-only live stream afterwards. And then another way that you can show support is by popping in the chat here if you're live and leaving us a super chat like Throwback did. Thank you very much. Asking me, how was your birthday, Warren? Because I will read your statement, comment, question, as long as it's not offensive, right here live for everyone to see. Well, just like I did right here with Throwback. How was your birthday? Well, I had a very lovely birthday, actually. Very, very nice day. And it actually went a little further today. My work colleagues took me out to lunch today. We went to a nice little Japanese place, one of my favorite restaurants in town. It was very good, and I had a nice time. Thank you for asking. Nick Wolf says, SRS hating on your birthday because you have better hair. Yes! For those of you who watched the Wednesday Night Wars, and by the way, thank you for the super chat, Nick Wolf. For those of you who watched the Wednesday Night Wars podcast last evening on the Fightful channel, Sean couldn't bring himself to wish me a happy birthday, despite the fact that I was wearing a party hat. He was dodging it. And I know, it's capillary jealousy. Capillary? Something like it. He's jealous of my mane. What I'm trying to say. Anyway, so and speaking of Fightful, you can come and catch me tomorrow evening again on the Spiteful channel. The Fightful channel. I'll be recapping SmackDown for better for worse tomorrow, and I'll be joined by Jeff Hawkins, which will be fun. I haven't talked to Jeff in a while, so that'll be a good time. Because Sean's not there, so I'm going to be anchoring, and Jeff is going to be there. It's going to be fun. So make sure to come check that out. I also have a T-shirt. It's a nice T-shirt. It's a fun T-shirt because it's a fun match, you guys. That's what the T-shirt says. You can go check that out at tinyurl.com/Warren Shop. Also check out belltobells.com, which is the spot that you want to go check out for all your women's wrestling news. That's BELLTOBELLES.com. Of course, Kristen Ashley is a co-owner, runs that place. And by the way, Kristen today was on Post Wrestling's Cafe Hangout. She joined Jason Pollock and Wai Ting to talk about women's wrestling, and it was really good. They talked for a good 10 to 15 minutes about all sorts of topics relating to women's wrestling. It's a good listen, you guys. You should go check that out on postwrestling.com. It was a fantastic stuff. So, there we go. Oh, look at this. We got more people popping in the chat here. We have Goodfella who's here. How you doing, good fella? Good fella. Blaine Mendoza is here, the world's most handsome mod. We're getting a good old-fashioned packed house here on the Mr. Warren Hayes show. And that's always good. I like that. All right. I'm already... Wait, no, hang on a second. Before we go on, there's something that I have to settle up here once and for all, and this is probably going to have me go over my allotted time, but I have to settle this. There's something I have to talk about. And for some reason, I always end up in these conversations where I have to stick up for Canadian stuff, okay? And I'm some sort of ambassador of Canada to the rest of the world, and I'm like the only Canadian that the rest of the world knows about. But once again today, Tim dropped me a super chat. Thank you, Tim. He says, I can't wait for my birthday. My birthday is March 6th. Make sure to pop in on the, when is the March? Look, happy birthday in advance, but we'll be sure to wish you happy birthday on your birthday as well, Tim. Anyway. So, once again, I was dragged into a conversation on Twitter today by a couple of people who saw pictures of milk bags, like bags in milk, or milk in bags. The other way would be really weird. Bags of milk that you find in a supermarket in Canada, and they're like, could you explain this, Warren? Warren, what is this all about? WTF for it. Now, listen. It's not all that weird. What is it? They're like, what is this? It's milk in a bag. Why put it in a bag? Why not put it in a bag? Why not put it in a bag? Bags of milk use less plastic than milk jugs. And you take the bag and you put it in a reusable pitcher. Right? The pitcher's in plastic. It has a handle. You put it in there. You snip the tip off the bag, and then you pour your milk. And then the bags, when you're done with the bags, you can recycle them to begin with. Or what you can do is you can snip the entire top off. You rinse it out. You dry it out, and then you can put a sandwich in there. You can put some baby carrots or some cucumber slices for a snack. Some trail mix. There's actually stuff that you can do with the bags after once you're done with it. Whether it's skim milk, 1% milk, 2%, 3.25 homogenized percent milk, you can use all those bags to whatever use you want. And then on top of that, it's better for the environment because there's less plastic being used. But then the manufacturers, not the manufacturers, but the milk people put them in milk bags is because you can transport more in a truck at a time. So not as many trucks on the road, less emissions, more milk. It's not that weird. It's really not that strange to get behind. Come on, America. And I didn't want to point you out. I didn't want to point fingers to you, America. But it's mostly you because there's a lot of places in the world that have milk in bags. But you're like, that's really strange. No, I'll tell you what's strange. Not using the metric system. The metric system is really simple. 5, 10s, 100s, thousands. It's really, really easy to move from one distance measurement to another. In the other system, the imperial system, whatever it is, it's called. It's like 12 inches is a foot. 3 feet is a yard. 5.5 yards is a rod. What the hell is a rod? When have I ever measured something with a rod? 6 feet is a fathom. A fathom. And then you get even further down the road, and then you get furlongs. The only furlong that I know about is Eddie Furlong from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Breakthrough performance in one of the greatest sci-fi movies / action movies ever made. America, it's enough of the milk in bags. Enough of that. As long as you are still using antiquated measures to measure stuff, don't come at me with the milk bags ever again. It's time for the weekly wrestling inspection. Hey, did you guys notice I have a new theme for the weekly wrestling inspection? I do. And it was generously composed, arranged, put together by world famous Mr. Warren Hayes show mod Ben Parise. Ben, that was fantastic. Thank you very much. I like it a lot better than the other theme I used to have. It fits more with the show. Ben was very, very kind to do that, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Mr. Fretz had a couple of super chats while I was discussing the milk bags. Wait, who is dissing milk bags? It's our currency. I know. Some people. And Nick Wolf with the super chat as well, answering Mr. Fretz, basically. Thank you, Nick Wolf. Says, currency? I thought you used maple syrup. Nah. Don't go with that. All right, let's get back to talking about wrestling. Throwback 27 left a super chat. Thank you very much. Before we actually get into the wrestling inspection, it says, which are you more scared of, Raw or tomorrow's SmackDown? Where NXT is now the #1 show for WWE when it comes to quality of content and matches. My birthday is the day of Super Showdown, so next week. Oh, so we'll probably be wishing you a happy birthday on the show. Throwback. I'm always a little more antsy going into SmackDown because SmackDown has, if it's been anything, it's been consistently boring. It wasn't good last week. It wasn't good the week before. At least Raw has had a good streak of good shows, but was that the case this week? Well, we're going to talk about it because we're doing the weekly wrestling inspection here. So let's just get to it. I've been talking about a lot of stuff, haven't I, so far? So let's just get to it. We're going to start by talking about giving out some cool beans to NXT TakeOver Portland, which I thought was a fantastic show. And chat, yeah, let me know. Let's talk about it. Did you like the show? Did you like Portland? Wild Boy, good to see you. Welcome to the chat, by the way. It was a great show. Was it the greatest takeover of all time, as a lot of people have been hyping it as? I wouldn't say so, but it's up there. It's definitely a contender. I think it's on the short list of the best ones of all time, but I don't think it's the tippy top one. But by God, this was a good show. Lee versus Dijak was amazing. It was just fantastic. I liked the whole thing. I enjoyed the respect that they gave each other at the end. However, it did like continue on. They're still going with the feud over on NXT, right, after what happened this week. So that was good. I was actually kind of hoping that they would move on from I was kind of hoping that they would move on from each other, because on one hand, Keith Lee needs to fight new people.
Yeah.
You know, he just has to start doing that. He has to start fighting new people. Whereas Dijak just needs to start racking up some wins. Because yes, he's impressive. And every match he's looked good. But he's in the big match situations, in these positions here, he's been coming up short. He has not been winning the matches. So it's time for him to sort of be able to score a big one, score a good one. And I'm kind of looking forward for them to do that. Gargano versus Finn was my match of the night, no question about it. It was a tremendous match. It was a wrestling match for wrestling fans, is what it was. I don't remember Finn Balor having such a strong ground game. It was really, really, really good. And Nick Wolf sent a super chat. Thank you. And he says, Finn teabagging Gargano was the best. That was something, wasn't it? I loved it. I loved the whole match. It was really, really good by two extremely talented, extremely good pro wrestlers. Johnny Gargano, I'll say it again. He's one of the best performers in the world right now. Finn Balor is extraordinary as well. The NXT run is doing him so much good. Rhea Ripley had a great night as well. She had a good showing with Bianca Belair. I think it was important for her as well to have a good showing, especially after what happened at Worlds Collide, where look, she and Toni Storm, they just can't work together. It just doesn't work. It's not good. But she got in there with Bianca. Bianca looked great. Rhea looked great. I love the match. Although I felt the ending was a little out of nowhere, a little anticlimactic. Otherwise, really, really good. Look, the street fight was good. The tag team match was a lot of fun as well. Was really good. The main event, I dug it until we got to the ending. I thought the ending was overbooked. And it kind of spoiled it for me. It was overbooked. There was too much stuff happening, and it really could have been condensed into one much more.
Oh, yeah.
It could have been condensed into one much more. What's the word I'm looking for? Concise segment. Look at me, MrWarrenHayes, talking about concision, right? Being concise. Ha ha ha. Pot, not the pot calling the kettle black or whatever. The point here that I'm trying to make is that they really could have wrapped it up a lot tighter so that we wouldn't have had like 2 levels of Undisputed Era interfering and then Johnny Gargano coming out to do to basically give the kiss of death to Ciampa. And I understand why they were doing it, because they wanted to build Ciampa as a really strong contender, as Adam Cole needed all of his cronies to get it done and probably couldn't even have got it done with all the near falls and so on. But you know, the WWE, when it comes to their top guys, they like to book them as extremely strong. What's going to take to put them down? And then you need like this really out of nowhere way to make them, to have them lose, you know? And I think they have to freshen that up a little bit. They have to try new things. Am I disappointed that we're going back to the Gargano Ciampa well? No, I'm not. And I know there's a lot of people who there was a collective groan when that happened. I could hear it on Twitter when Gargano was there and turned on Ciampa and everyone was like, "Oh, not this again." And I don't mind. I don't mind it, and I'm actually kind of good with it. I'm excited about it because these guys have history. They have a storied history, and we've talked about this before. When they wrapped up the original arc of their story, I told this before. This is a story they can go back whenever they like. It's charged. It's there. It's been well documented. It's been well told on top of it all. We can just go back to it anytime. That's fantastic. And if anything, this shows me the difference between North American wrestling fans, WWE fans, and New Japan fans. Because in New Japan, you have to be into seeing the same pairings happen over and over again, because that's how storytelling in New Japan kind of works. You keep the two guys fighting each other, trying to find reasons to best each other in matches and competitive matches in the ring. So, and that's where the stories come from. You know, that's why Tanahashi and Okada works well, and when they meet up and fight, it's always a big deal. That's why Omega versus Okada worked so well as well. It's interesting because I know a lot of NXT fans are also New Japan fans, but for some reason, when we go back to the well here, into a very well produced, very well thought out storyline, which is Gargano versus Ciampa, people start to tear at their shirts and like, oh, no, not this again. Whereas we go back to Tanahashi versus Okada and people pop. It's weird, but I'm okay with this. I'm 100% okay with it, and I'm kind of excited to see what they do with it. We'll see what happens, but hey, it's a fun time. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan. I can tell you that much. I want to say hello to Daniel Hayes, who has the best last name in the universe. Thank you for joining us in the chat. Throwback left us another super chat. Thank you again. He says, I posted this on Twitter. Keith Lee needs to move to the NXT Championship and set up a winner Winner takes a take-all match versus Adam Cole. Gargano turning on Ciampa. Excuse me, I can't read. I think we're just gonna have to come to grips with that. I can't read tonight. I'm still all pumped up on the milk rant. Gargano turning on Ciampa was great. It was. As for Keith Lee moving on to the NXT Championship, I'm okay with them giving the North American title a bit of prestige. Like, I'm okay with Keith Lee defending it and making it his own, making it his title kind of thing, because he's really, really good at what he does. They need to have a strong mid-card title because they can't put everyone at the top. I'm okay with this. But it's not a bad plan, that being said. But, whatever direction they take, I'm okay with it. But right now, I'm okay with them keeping focus like they're doing right now. Shane Haas, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat, friend. All right, so we had some cool beans here, but now we're going to get some hot trash because we're moving on to SmackDown, and the Moment of Bliss segment was not good. It was just not good. And it was a showing that WWE does not know how to write for women. They just don't. They don't know how to write for women. Because I'm pretty sure that Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross have much more interesting things to say out in front of an audience than, who's your celebrity crush? And then have some sort of dumb Brad Pitt joke where Nikki Cross pronounces Brad Pitt oddly, and it makes everyone laugh. And the thing here's the thing. This is where you're starting to see the disconnect between the people in power and creative and what's going on in the audience. No one, especially around the ages of Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, say these days in 2020 that Brad Pitt is their crush. This is something that people would have said in the late 90s and the 2000s, but not anymore. We're going to move on to other handsome men. Like Chris Hemsworth would be much more relevant, but you can't make a funny joke, and Bruce Pritchard probably doesn't know who Chris Hemsworth is. So, yeah. So that it was a terrible segment to open up. And there were a lot of unnecessary promos on SmackDown. There's a lot of unnecessary promos on WWE these days. Yeah. However, what was really good though was the Bayley versus Carmella match. I thought it was a solid match between both of these women. I actually thought it was the best match on SmackDown last Friday, which is saying much because this match was really good. And had there been other good matches, I would have liked to see how I would have stacked it up against anything else, really, because this I thought was really good. I thought Carmella worked solidly well. I'm okay with them if they want to go back to this well. If they want to create a triple threat with Naomi, Carmella's good. Carmella has always been improving. She's always done magic with the roles that she's been given in WWE. There's no point in trying to scale it back. She's really good at what she does. So let's see what they do with this moving forward. But as far as that match as a standalone goes, that's really good. I liked it. What I didn't like though, and that's going to get some hot trash, not some warm soda, some hot trash. There we go, right here. You know how I talk sometimes on how WWE has difficulty rewarding its longtime viewers, whether it's revisiting history to sort of fit a narrative, or whether it's whether it's just constantly recapping things that happened a week ago, 10 minutes ago, because, hey, you have to recap what happened during the last quarter hour because you want to make sure that all this influx of brand new viewers at this new quarter hour understand what happened like 15 minutes ago. You want to make sure that all those new viewers know what's going on. Anyway, they have difficulty rewarding. This is their longtime viewers. They have difficulty doing that to you and I, longtime viewers, fans, which is why they always explain what the Royal Rumble rules are by having people being thrown over the top rope. But last Friday, they felt like they had to give us a hype package for Goldberg. Why would we need a hype package for Goldberg to remind us of his illustrious Hall of Fame career? That's absurd. It's the new fans. What about the old fans? What about those of us who've been around for all that time? It bugs me because I'm like, I know who Goldberg is. You don't need to spend 2 minutes of your 2-hour show reminding me, hey, Goldberg was a big thing for a while. I know he was. I was bad, man. Joe Cook left a super chat. By the way, hi, Joe. Left us a super chat. Thank you, Joe. Says AEW was awesome. Sorry you can't make the whole show. I'll catch it tomorrow morning at work. Thanks for all the great content, Warren. Thank you for the kind words, the super chat. And yes, AEW was awesome. I can't wait. That I'm looking forward to talk about. Talked about it last night on Fightful, but I'm ready to talk about it again because it was that good. It was very, very good. I'm going to put on some warm sody here because we're moving on to Raw. About the Matt Hardy versus Randy Orton thing. It's a swerve. It's a swerve. There's no match. We advertised the match, but we're taking it away from you. God, I'm really sick of WWE doing that. I'm really, really sick of WWE doing that. They've been doing it more and more, and it's very, very much a 1995, 1996 WCW Nitro move, to advertise matches. And, oh, no, they're not happening because this guy got injured. Sorry, you bought tickets to see this. I hate that shit. I really do. It's, I can't stand it. So Matt Hardy comes out because he's still super injured from what happened the week before. And I don't think the segment should have gone 20 minutes. I think it was a little too long because what we essentially got was the same thing last week. And that irked me. But on the other side, Randy Orton is really good at what he's doing these days. And it helped add a level to his character that I wasn't necessarily anticipating. I don't think we progressed the storyline here. There wasn't any progress in Randy Orton and Edge because we've been delayed another week to get some kind of explanation. Why are we doing it? And Randy Orton seems very, very overcome. He's confused. He doesn't know why he's doing this. All these voices in his head, I guess. So we still don't know why he's doing it. So that's been delayed another week. I don't know why they brought back Matt Hardy to do this other than to make sure that we understand that Randy Orton is troubled, that he's not doing well. Maybe he should go to therapy. But look, and as Benoit pointed out in the show notes, because my show notes are available, by the way, as I build them every week for patron members, and patron members are more than welcome to come in and add comments to the notes as I'm building it. It's really a work in progress, and that's really cool. Ben in the chat points out, he says that there's a lot of chemistry between Matt Hardy and there was a lot of chemistry between Matt Hardy and Randy Orton, which is undeniable. The segment worked because you had two very, very masterful storytellers in the ring doing what they do best. And it kind of pisses you off when you realize that, look, WWE is about to let Matt Hardy go because they have nothing for him to do. They're going to let go of this guy again. It's weird. It's weird. He comes in for a throwaway segment and he spins gold, and you're about to say you're not going to even try to retain him. You're not even going to try to hang on to him. I don't know. I don't know what that kind of stuff is. Look, in a couple of weeks, we'll see what happens to Matt Hardy. He's about to pop. He's about to pop up somewhere else for sure. I don't know if it's AEW. A lot of people seem convinced. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'd really see him go back to Impact. Quite honestly, because that's where the That's where the Broken Universe existed. That was his stomping grounds for that. He'd probably have complete creative control over it. They don't have any really weird gimmicks going on anymore. They're done with Su Yung and that universe. They haven't been going back to it for a while. He has a home there for sure. Management is not the same as from when he left, because the Impact still had that GCW stuff with Jeff Jarrett. There's no more of that.
Boom,
it's a complete different management. I don't know. We'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. Before we move on to AEW, Throwback left another super chat. Do you think Edge? Thank you, by the way, Throwback. You're very, very kind. Very generous tonight. Thank you. Do you think Edge will show up at Sands of Time to set up Orton for Mania? I could see it happen. I could see Edge heading over to Saudi Arabia, getting the paycheck, getting the Saudi money just for a run-in. Sure. But if anything, the Saudi shows have shown us over the past few years, or the few installments, that have shown us that they're basically glorified house shows. There's rarely something that really happens on it that's transported onto regular programming. Outside of the Best in the World trophy, the tag team gauntlet, obviously the Fiend winning the Universal title, that's probably the biggest thing that's ever happened. But nothing ever really carries over. But I can see it happening. Do I think it's a good idea? I don't think so. I think you keep that for Raw, because you're not going to get more people tune in to Sands of Time and get excited for Sands of Time, or you keep it for one of your regular pay-per-views to sort of add a level of excitement there. Because let's not forget, Sands of Time is broadcast live in the middle of the day for us living in North America, at least. So it's not as if we can get excited and tune in live. Most of us are doing our day jobs. You know what I'm talking about. I don't know what that accent was. Mr. Peeps, good to see you. Good to see you peeping in. Let's start talking about AEW. And boy, oh boy, have I got some great things that we're cool beaning this one out. And I'm going to talk more about Raw on the post stream. Join me on the post stream over on patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes once we're done with this later on this evening. But I got a second week of another explosively good Dynamite show. And I'm not trying to be cute by saying that it's explosive. It really was. Was it better than last? I preferred last week. I thought last week was phenomenal wrestling television, but this week was real good. And so I'm okay with 2 consecutive weeks of really good programming, and where I have to say, well, I like this one a little more because this one was good. That it's a good problem to have. And I like this episode here because it ran through issues that I had with, or that I still have with AEW, but it's as if they're sort of starting to alleviate some of my fears, such as the AEW Tag Team Battle Royal. AEW, I was a little anxious at the thought of this match because AEW has not had a good Battle Royal since its inception. The Casino Battle Royals were trash because there were too much stuff happening at one time. They weren't well produced. The camera work wasn't following the action. You couldn't see what was going on. They had a battle royal last fall as well, which was not good either. So I was like, ugh, you're putting all your tag teams in here? Really? It was good. It was their best produced battle royal to date because you actually got to see the action. They actually took moments where guys could land spots on each other that as the viewing audience could appreciate. I didn't care for all the lying around waiting for stuff to happen. That's a little something that they could fix, that they could rehabilitate a little bit. But it's a minor gripe over the larger positive that they were able to put on a watchable, enjoyable battle royal. Wasn't perfect by any means. but it was good enough for me to be like, well, this is a step in the right direction. This is good. Cody this week on the call was saying that they're learning on the job. Well, they're picking stuff up because this was not as bad as the others, for sure. And it was good. I mean, I'm not trying to, bring the, lower the bar, but they set the bar for themselves and they're going over it. So good on them. So some more cool beans again for stuff that AEW is starting to prove me wrong. The AEW women's division again this week looking real good. We can even go back to Dark where we had Swole versus Christy Janes, which was a good match, you guys. And Christy Janes is, well, someone they should sign because she worked well. She has a good look to her. She's unique as far as the other women go around on the roster. Bring her aboard as well. A-dubs. That was really good. Statlander versus Shauna this week was real good as well. Nyla Rose's promo was great. It was great. And most of you are regular listeners or watchers. You know how I feel about Nyla Jax. I say it week after week. I feel that she wasn't ready to be put in the position she was in. I was not looking forward to her fighting Riho for the women's title. But and I was like, her character work is a little soft. It's not all that great. Like, it's one thing to be a big, oh yeah, I can run through anyone, but you need a little substance to it. Her promo was so good. I'm the highest paid woman I should be the highest paid woman in the locker room. I like that. That's a heel thing to talk about. I want to make more money than anyone else. She says that I should have been the first champion. I should have been AEW's first champion. So now we're full circle here. This is good. She says, when I get hungry, I break bitches. Her delivery was great. Her content was on par. And then Swole and Statlander come out to get some heat. I hope they stretch out Statlander and Swole a bit. They're probably setting this up for the next pay-per-view for Revolution, which is a shame because, let's say you give Swole and Statlander a 2 out of 3, best 2 out of 3. And you have that go week after week. And Nyla Rose is just in the back's like, fight, come at me. And she's just waiting in the wings. That would have been fantastic. What a great way to get some heat there. Look, I like being proved wrong when it comes to feelings or impressions that I have about wrestlers. I want wrestlers to have long, good careers. I want them to do their best. And I want them to succeed. I want wrestling to be good and successful. So if Nyla Rose over the past couple of weeks is like turning it up and delivering great promos, looking good in the ring, well, she's squashing all the bugs that I had about her. Good. This is the type of circumstance where I'm like, sure, prove me wrong. I'm okay with that. I will eat crow without a problem. Thank you. Thank you, Nyla Rose. I'm okay with that. So that's good stuff. That's all good stuff. What was not good stuff, though, JR, good old JR, during the Statlander Shauna match, turning to Excalibur and saying, tell me about this Chris Statlander. She's an alien, you tell me? And then Excalibur starts to explain what she is. Goes through the gimmick, talks about coming from the Andromeda system, her spaceship crash landing in Area 51, and JR says, all right, that's enough of that. I'm like, what the fuck, man? You just asked for Excalibur to explain to you what the gimmick was, and now you're shooting it down? JR has done this before. When he doesn't like something, when he thinks it's goofy or stupid or he doesn't understand it, he'll just shut it down. And he'll outright say, I don't get it, or I don't understand, or he won't outright say this is dumb, but you can go back to how he was talking about Orange Cassidy over the past few weeks. He didn't get the gimmick at all, So he basically showed disinterest in it. Now, I tweeted this out on social media, Twitter more specifically. And I told him, and I said basically what I just told you here. What the hell? Why is he shutting people down? And I had responses saying, well, he doesn't like it, so he should shut it down. It's not his role as head commentator to tell the audience that you should not be invested in what you're watching. That's stupid. He should be putting over the talent regardless of what he feels. That's his job is not to editorialize. His job is to put over talent. And this is the gimmick that his company is running with. This is what they're doing. So it's his job to get it over. That's his job. If he wants to go and talk about how silly a gimmick he is, he can go hang out with Conrad Thompson. He has a podcast where he can talk about whatever he wants. Over there, I don't care. But when you're on TV, you have to make it happen, because then I had people respond back, JR is right, the gimmick is stupid. See, that's the thing. That's exactly the point. The gimmick is stupid because JR's talking about it. You know? I'm going off track here, but still, so if he doesn't care, why should we care? Then I had people saying, well, if Bobby Heenan had said it, well, we'd all be laughing. He's not a heel. Bobby Heenan was a heel. That was his job. It was his job to shut stuff down. JR is bloody head commentator. You probably don't realize it because Excalibur is doing most of the heavy lifting, calling the matches. You wouldn't realize it, but that's what he is. He's the anchor man. He hangs on to everything, and you don't hear Tony Schiavone putting stuff down. No, JR, grumpy old JR. And this is a guy who told us for years that The Undertaker can come back from the dead. He told us that with a straight face. He got excited when The Undertaker would reappear after 2 years of being dead, after being buried alive. Oh, look, it's The Undertaker. By God, he's alive. And he'd tell us that with a straight face and get excited about it. I'm done with JR. I really am. And one of the reasons I'm done with him is because of Taz. And Taz gets some cool beans. Taz was fantastic on commentary on Dark and during the Jeff Cobb, John Moxley match this week. I've lost my train of thought. The match, J.S. Brown, how you doing? Welcome to the chat, by the way. And Thomas Middock as well. Welcome to the chat. The thing here with Taz, when he was on Dark with Excalibur, at some point during the women's match, they do a lockup, a stupid basic collar and elbow lockup in the middle of the ring. What do they start to do? What does Taz start to do? He starts to break it down. Why you do collar and elbow tie-ups? Because you want to get this type of leverage, and you have to do this, and this is how you twist your arms. And Excalibur starts feeding him. He says, yeah, that's right, because then you can move into this and that. And I'm there, and I'm like, yes, this is the type of wrestling commentary that I live for. And then he comes back to do the Moxley Cobb match, and he spends the match putting over Jeff Cobb's style, the style that he uses to perform his suplexes and his strength moves. He breaks down his tactics and why he's doing what he's doing. It's not just goofy aliens. He's breaking down the techniques, and he's putting these people over, and he's putting wrestling over. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When I was watching WCW back when I was younger, one of the reasons I got to appreciate wrestling for what it was because of a guy like Mike Tenay who would do exactly what Taz is doing today. And if AEW does indeed truly want to make a product which is very different from what WWE is presenting, give us commentators that will explain what the wrestling what's happening in the ring. Not just like, oh, what a big move. Oh, he dropped him on his head. No. Tell us about the moves. Tell us about their Japanese origins or who trained who on this. Tell us why a Kimura hurts so goddamn much. This is what good commentary on wrestling will do. It will get you excited to see even the most basic of moves. And it's something they have him. They've contracted him. They have Taz right there, and he's doing a fantastic job. And JR can't even get the people's names straight. My God. A lot of ranting here tonight. What's going on, Warren? And some final cool beans for a really great episode of AEW Dynamite. It has to be Mox versus Cobb. My God. I mean, the tag team match was really good. The cage match was really good. Cody blading. And his friggin' moonsault. He just got at the top. And you know how some guys will hang on the top and look back and, and sort of gather themselves. He just went up. He stood back. He looked over once and then was whomp. That was so good. But Mox versus Cobb was special. It's one of my favorite TV matches so far. Mox versus Cobb are so good. They're so good together. And this was I know a lot of people were like, why did Jeff Cobb lose his first match? Well, you're not going to have Jon Moxley, who was basically undefeated in AEW. You're not going to have him lose his first match a couple of weeks out of the pay-per-view to Jeff Cobb. And the way he lost Cobb was a Bret Hart finish where Bret Hart just takes a beating, then all of a sudden locks you into a roll-up and gets the sneaky win that way. No one looked bad here, especially not Cobb. Jon Moxley has not been beaten from pillar to post in AEW at all. Like, he's been beaten up by Jeff Cobb. This was a Jeff Cobb exhibition match. He pulled out everything to try and put Moxley away. He looked fantastic, and he has a place on this roster. He's polished. He's strong. He's clean. He's good at what he does. He is a good professional wrestler. If I am AEW, I am throwing everything at Jeff Cobb to get him to call AEW home, because he doesn't have a contract. He roams between Ring of Honor and New Japan, wherever he wants to go. Now AEW, but you want to lock this guy down. You want to be able to call him yours. You want to be able to put him on your roster and have him go up the rankings and challenge dudes. I was really glad to see Jeff Cobb on such a big national stage. He looked like he when someone looks like he belongs there? He belongs there. He really does. It was fantastic. It was such a good match. He even used the rib tape during the commercial, Jon Moxley's rib tape. He pulled it off and he strangled him with it. Oh, I love the match so much. It was real good stuff. It was all good stuff. And that was the weekly wrestling inspection. A little super chat again from Throwback again. Thank you very much. She says, Graves and Taz are amazing at what they do for two different companies. Yeah. On two different levels, but yeah, I mean, you can tell if you let Corey Graves, if you let Corey Graves a little more, you give him a little more leeway, he could probably break down stuff as well. I think Nigel McGuinness is closer to what Taz does, but Graves is very good. He's good at the pop culture references and stuff. He has that strength too. But yeah. There we go. I'm going long tonight. I think I'm gonna have to bump. I'm going to bump some stuff over onto the post stream. I wanted to talk about the New Japan television deal that they're going back onto primetime in Japan, which is a huge deal. Like, it's a big deal, and I'm surprised that not more people are talking about it, because it's significant. It's definitely significant, and I think I'm going to talk about it on the post stream. So if you want to hear me talk about that and give my full thoughts on how worried I am about Raw, well, come on over to the post stream after we're done here. But hey, you know what? Here's the thing. don't forget, if you like this so far, you can leave a thumbs up here on the video or a like on your podcast application. Do that. That's really cool. And super chats are still open. We can still, I'll still read your stuff. I'm not going anywhere just yet. We're still here for a little while. We are going to talk about the Cody Rhodes media call that he did this week on Tuesday, which I like. I like that he did that. I know they were putting a lot of stock on in the Atlanta show of from Dynamite. By the way, it was topsy-turvy land this week because those of you who follow me on Twitter know that BTE, being the elite on YouTube, hasn't been doing it for me recently. Yeah, I think it's actually become kind of lame. Whereas the Road 2 series that they do is outstanding. Like, it's top-notch stuff. Well, this week it was the complete opposite. I thought BTE was fun for the first time in a long time. I thought it was fun from top to bottom. I thought the Hangman Page stuff was perfectly ridiculous. Just the enough and the perfect amount of ridiculous. I thought it was great. And there was nothing to the Road 2 episode this week. I was like, what? This is kind of disappointing. Topsy-turvy land. But at least we got a good Dynamite, right? And a great Dynamite and a good episode of Dark. It was a good week for AEW if you want. If you want your boy's opinion. Yeah. Got something in my eye? What? How did that happen? Okay. I mean, I got to be able to read my notes here. Come on. Okay. Guys, I think I press F in the chat for my eye. Pay respects to my eye. This is stupid. Okay. So Cody Rhodes gave the media call this week, and I like the idea of Cody doing this. Here's one thing for my thank you, Chad. Thank you for being on my side. I like that he reaches out to the media like that. That's one way that AEW is definitely doing things very, very differently from WWE. Yes, Triple H does the NXT calls before takeovers. Well, it's not the same because they just do it for NXT. They don't do it for everything right now. Dynamite is the show. They do the media call before a Dynamite. I dig it. I like it. He went through a lot of stuff, a lot of interesting things. One of the things he talked about was, were the trademarks. One journalist asked about Bash at the Beach being, an old WCW trademark. Do you think we'll see more of those, more of these theme shows? And Cody said that he has many trademarks that are his, but that we're unlikely to see more of them. But he did say maybe except for one, wink, wink. He literally said maybe one, wink, wink. And he said that he has these trademarks. It's mostly for his mother, who is the executor of his dad's estate. So it's mostly for her and to preserve his dad's legacy that he has these trademarks, and he doesn't want to overuse them. But he did say that maybe one more. What I'm hoping for? I'm going to tell you straight off the bat: Halloween Havoc. Let's bring back, spin the wheel, seal the deal. That's what I'd like to see return. I'd mark out hardcore for a modern day Halloween Havoc. That'd be great. Cody then also confirmed that Jeff Cobb works for Ring of Honor, New Japan, and AEW as well. He hopes to pursue a longer thing with AEW. He hopes that Jeff Cobb pursues a longer thing with AEW, and if so, they're not going to impede into what Cobb is doing elsewhere as well. You could see what they do with Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley. Where they can go and travel and do their own things. They can do blood sports. They can go to New Japan, whatever. He talked about the creative structure of AEW as well, and that's the creative structure goes as follows. It's the 4 EVPs, and Tony Khan. He says they have advisors like Taz, Tony Schiavone, Dean Malenko, Dustin Rhodes, and Jim Ross, but that they want to keep the circle very small. So that's good. Smart as well. He said that in regards to free agency, that was a question that popped up. Is AEW being a destination for wrestlers who are suddenly coming out of their contracts? Not to name any names. Matt Hardy. He says that AEW wants talent that is fresh and can go bell to bell, since they're a bell to bell wrestling company. I'm not even sure what that means. A bell to bell, that you can wrestle from the beginning of the beginning of the match to the end of the match. Aren't all wrestlers capable of doing that? I mean, whether it doesn't mean like, oh, he can go bell to bell. Well, what if it's a 3-minute match? He went bell to bell. I'm not quite sure what that means. But he said that it's a good time to be a wrestler and that the doors are open. AEW's doors are open. He also mentioned that he started a leadership role at a wrestling school in Norcross, Georgia, called the Nightmare Factory. It's not officially affiliated with AEW, he was telling us. He said that right now Sadie Gibbs and Anthony Ogogo are there training. And he even had recently Dean Malenko and Dustin give some seminars there as well. Dean Malenko did a wrestling seminar, and I think Dustin gave a promo seminar as well. He said there was talk about the women's division. He said that the women's division is growing, but it will still take some time. He put over Big Swole, Britt Baker, and Nyla Rose as being anchors for the division, but he did ask for fans to be patient, and he also said that some people, they just build a women's division to build a women's division, build a women's division for, as he put it, woke points, but that in reality, they're just doing it because it's something they have to check off. Whereas in their case, in their reality, women's wrestling is doing great business for them with merch and ticket sales, and they're committed to growing it. So it's not just, I know a lot of people and people close to me took that comment wrong, but in the way I heard it, and I think it's pretty plain spoken, he wasn't saying that he was putting the women's division together just to make people happy. He put it together because he believes in it and it's doing good business for them. Maybe some people have a women's division just because they need to have it done, and then they neglect it. But in his case, in AEW's case, they're working hard on it. Well, so that's something good to hear. He puts over the help that Ring of Honor gave them for creating All In. And he did also specify, he underscored the fact that the trademark All In is owned by the Young Bucks, their own company called Killing the Business, which I think is the best company name for a wrestling organization, anything related to wrestling. It's fantastic. But yeah, so All In is still like, it's trademarked. They still have it. He didn't say AEW owns it though, but the Bucks do. Cody talked about how their content is what defines them, and how they don't put out statements or do PR campaigns to push certain wrestlers or agendas, because they let the content speak for itself. And this is when the discussion turned towards Nyla Rose winning the championship, and there was also questions about adding more diversity, more people of color. And Cody, essentially what Cody was saying here is that they're not making a show out of let's say Nyla Rose winning the women's championship. They didn't go out and say, first time ever, legendary moment in wrestling, the first transgender women's champion. They, like they said, this, like he said here, just let the content speak for itself. We're not here to go out and go out and try to push some sort of agenda. We're going to let our content speak for itself, and I can appreciate that. He did touch on Val Venus's filthy, vile, and disgusting comments. And if by now you haven't seen what he's talked about, I'm not going to talk about it because I find it deeply offensive. You can go seek it out. It's out there, and brace yourselves is all I can say. And he addressed it. He addressed Val Venus by name, saying, he's to him, he's just working, trying to get a booking somewhere. He called them the WWE's Disco Inferno, which is okay, not a good look. For not a good look for your boy Val anyway. And he said, and basically in regards to everyone who creates these negative comments and stuff, he said that at some point you have to let them swing, take a swing, but stop hitting the ball back to them. And I understand that. I understand his point, where he says, essentially, don't feed the trolls, right? But there's also something to say about creating expectations and having to live up to those expectations as well. They did say that they wanted to change the world. That's the whole Elite's thing, right? That's their slogan. Change the world. They want to do things differently. These are their words. I'm not making stuff up. I'm not pulling this out of my butt. This is what they were saying leading into the creation of AEW. And when they got Nyla Rose, well, they said the first transgender wrestler to be signed to a national promotion. So you expect them, so these are messages that they're sending out. And I can appreciate that. And Cody himself said, he wants AEW to have more diversity. He wants AEW to resemble what America in 2020 looks like. And that's a statement I can get behind. But the thing is that if you are making these statements with your content, mind you, if you are making your statement with your content, you're letting your content speak for itself, and people do start swinging back, taking shots at what you're trying to do, at some point you do have to retaliate, and you do have to stand for what you said you believed in. Now, if you're hiring trans wrestlers like Nyla, or openly gay wrestlers like Sonny Kiss, for instance, there is a certain amount of clapback that comes towards that. And when Nyla wins the championship, at some point the company has to show that it's sticking by its champion, that it is going to defend her and create this space that does indeed feel all-inclusive. It's a statement in and about itself to have a trans champion, which can open the eyes of other communities to look inward here. But if by looking in here, they see they see the hatred, the bigotry bubbling up, if they see that can also turn them away if the company seems to be turning a blind eye to it. And I'm not saying they are, but it's all a question of perception. If Cody is in a position where he's like, I'm okay with this, and we have to stop hitting the ball back, we have to stop swinging back, he's not animating his base, and he's not animating these new these potential new viewers who might be interested in coming over and seeing this, but instead seeing headlines about hatred and such wrestling pundit saying awful things and former WWE wrestler saying this shitty stuff about her. Silence does enable. It does. If you never tell your kid to eat his vegetables, he'll never eat his vegetables. That's the same thing here. Silence is enabling for for dissident voices, for voices that may carry bigoted, hateful messages. Because look, if we're not being chided, we might as well continue, right? I'm not saying that it's that basic. It's not like point A to point B. It's unconscious, it's subconscious, but that's still the reasoning. If you're never told not to do something, well, you're going to feel better about doing it. And on the flip side, if you're not saying anything, well, your base isn't feeling animated about it. It doesn't feel like it's important to you. So if it's not important to you, why would it be important to them? Yeah, you can let the community police itself, but to a certain point. The community who's trying to police it for you needs to know on which side you're on. Are you on my side or are you on their side? And that's just to frenzy up the base, to give them wings, to give them some energy. We're on the right side of this. But like I said, I understand that he doesn't want to make a spectacle out of Nyla's championship. I can get that. I can understand that. And I appreciate that they didn't do it, because it's the kind of thing that WWE probably would have done, and had they done it. Let me start over. If WWE had done that, they probably would have done it in a much more cringier fashion, and probably wouldn't have handled it so well. But at some point, you do have to clap back. You really do. But you know, this is I'm talking here. I'm editorializing. See, I have a podcast. I'm not on Dynamite. This is what I can do here. And to close it up, he puts over his partnership with TSN here in Canada. He was asked about live events in Canada. He said, yeah, we'd like to come up there. If we do come up, probably Toronto. But he said he had a lot of good memories about touring Canada. Puts over the partnership with TSN, but without giving any ratings. We don't know how well it's performing in the ratings. If you ask me, it's probably doing pretty good. It's probably doing fine these days. Just wait till the NHL playoffs start, though.
Oh, yeah!
That would be something else. Aaron Jays fan leaves a super chat, and he says, thoughts on Shayna replying to that parent? Not quite sure what that context is here. I'm not quite sure. If you want to check it out real quick while I start wrapping the show up, I can comment on it, because I'm not quite sure. Because I'm not quite sure. Is it? Are we talking about the fan that when Shayna beat up Candice LeRae at a house show even more and blamed the fan to doing that? Is that what we're talking about? It was about a dad who complained when she shed shit on her promo. Oh, okay. Oh, was that a response that she put out to him? Hey, man, listen, let's be honest. Okay, the where she basically said, you know, I'm not going to change how I speak for children, something like that. I'm fine with that. That's what a heel does. That's what a heel does. Hey, listen, look, I'm a dad. I've raised 2 kids. You might as well just make them understand what profanity is. And then you sort of turn them and you say, ooh, that's not a nice word because she's not a nice lady. And that's it. It's not, you enable or disable your children, right? You say, they hear a bad word and they're like, well, you know, you shouldn't use that word. She uses it because she's a big, nasty meanie kind of thing. You'd probably want to say, she's a big, nasty bitch. But then you say that to your kid and you can, oh, I can say nasty bitch. No, you shouldn't say, are you a meanie dad? No, I'm a cool guy. That kind of thing. But thank you for the super chat, Aaron Jays fan. So yeah, that's basically my thought. Oh, we got one more before we go, I guess. Throwback. How you doing again? Do I think Shayna versus Sonya can happen down the line? And how's would you set it up? Well, yes, I think Shayna versus Sonya is a possibility. I think it would be real good. they'd have to first and foremost, they'd have to be on the same brand. That's one thing they'd need to do. And they would have to do a good job to build Sonya in a credible fashion. Not that Sonya is not credible, but I'm talking in character work speak. As far as her character work goes, she has to be able to. They're going to have her start winning matches first and foremost. They're going to have to make her look stronger than she is. Put over the fact that she did MMA, that she has an MMA background, and that she can use it. And they're going to have to do that. If they want to do that, they should do that fairly soon because, well, Shayna's getting up there as far as age goes. Sonya still has some great years in front of her, but if they want to pull the trigger on that, that has to happen sooner than later. But I would be down for that. But they definitely have to start giving Sonya some wins. That's the first thing you have to do. And then the first thing that you have to do, if you want to hear more Warren Hayes, is head on over to patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes. Join the Patreon at the Power Pal level, and you'll be able to jump into the post stream, which I like to call Warren is off the clock right here. And tonight I'll be talking about what's worrying about me with Raw, what I'm worried about with Raw, off of last Monday's episode. And I'm going to talk about the New Japan TV deal, which needs more people talking about because I think it's exciting stuff. I really think it's exciting stuff, and I hope you guys come and join me after. Hope you people patrons. Sorry. I hope that you come and join me, and if you want to come in and then you have access to all the content as well. You can come join good, wholesome people such as Tim Traver, who's a patron of the Smart to Death podcast, Sean Sarah as well, Ryan Burke, Nick Wolf, Kristen Ashley, John Washaba, Harmony, Donald Gold, D-Generation MC, Big Paws on a Pup, and Ben Parise, all supporters of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. Thank you all very much for your patronage. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate everyone who came here tonight. Thank you, everyone, for the very generous evening of Super Chats. I appreciate that a great deal. I think I'll start every week with a food rant. I mean, if that's what it takes, I'll do it. No, I'm kidding. No, I appreciate it. Thank you all. Thank you all for being, and thank you all for coming out, joining in the chat. Thank you for listening on your own accord. Remember, tomorrow evening, SmackDown over on Fightful. It'll be a good time. Otherwise, I'll be back here next Thursday for that, for the rest of the festivities. And yeah, I hope everyone otherwise has a great weekend. In the meantime, I'll see you next time.